1 second. Love it. YouTube. Great. Awesome. I don't even know if you guys can see me or not right now. Had everything all set up. Working great. And then it all broke. No. You can see and hear me like right now? Okay, well, I can't see myself. I have no idea. It just giving me errors like crazy. Telling me to restart the stream and that my video resolution is not optimal. But if you can hear me, the last person I saw was Rick Solari. Hi, Rick Solari. Okay, well, I can see the comments. I can see the comments. All right. Why the bait video title? Actually, it's not a bait video title. I hate clickbait. And, yeah, it's kind of the topic of today's video is being real. I don't really have much to offer anybody. It's not like I have a big channel or technically interesting content. I just want to make stuff, and I want to share the stuff I make with people, and I want to be real about it. And the world is so fake right now. It is so fake, and YouTube is so fake. And I don't ever want to be a YouTuber that's fake. Also, I'm not feeling well today. My head's not totally there. I'm a horrible, horrible migraine, so my thinking is quite slow. But yeah, as far as getting fired, well, it has to do with working with sponsors and being frustrated with the current state of the PC hardware market and having everything be so expensive and advertising on YouTube. And I'm pretty frustrated about it. So yeah, today's gonna be a little bit spicy. And I know Rocast is sitting over there sweating bullets. Don't worry, it's not like that. I might still get fired. But I just want to be real with you guys. I love you, and I want to only do sponsorship videos that benefit you guys somehow. And I'm not gonna sell out. I'm not gonna do stupid videos because I get a few bucks here or there. So yeah, it's not a clickbait video. Probably just ruined my chances of working with Rocast again for that. But I am working with Rocast because they're a cool retailer. I have 2 friends that work there. One person actually got a job that works there. And the pitch to me was, kind of like make a RevZilla.com, except for PC hardware. And I think that's kind of cool. But yeah, I got an email from one of the people that worked there and wanted me to put all sorts of stuff and format the video in a certain way, and I'm just not going to do that. I'm not going to wear a Roadcast t-shirt. I mean, it's nice and everything. The logo needs to be a little bit smaller, but I'm not going to wear that for the stream. You know, I think Roadcast is a good company, and I think that you should buy products from them. I think that can leave it at that. So, there you go. So, part of this topic, and I want to thank somebody that works at Roadcast for helping me out with it, was I'm frustrated with how expensive PC parts are right now. And it's ridiculous. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to build a PC using parts I got from Roadcast. And they're all budget parts, except the video card. And this is really what I think got me so frustrated, is that the video card for today's stream was not the 3060 Ti. I had the box for this. But of course, this is like, what, $1,800? It's insanity. So it's the EVGA 2060, the 12 gigabyte model, the non-Ti version. I've talked about this on stream before. This is my favorite GPU right now that you can actually buy. And I've been getting mine from EVGA because you can buy them retail. You have to wait in like a 5-month-long queue, but eventually you can get one of these cards in your hands. And Roadcast actually does get these available too to sell. And by the way, I did put a link in the description for my Discord channel because this is probably illegal. And if it is, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to break the law. But when I hear about cards dropping on Roadcast, I let my Discord know. So you guys can go buy a video card from Roadcast. Yeah, I'm going to make a lot of mistakes. Like I said, I have a terrible migraine. I am seeing stars. This is going to be a really silly stream, and I'm going to say a lot of things that are completely dumb and wrong, and I'm probably going to regret it later. Probably shouldn't use social media like this. But, yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about, I hope. If not, you can ask in the question. Hopefully the stream is still working. I still see you guys in the comments, but let me know if you can't hear them anymore. So, all right. So I went to Roadcast to check out the video cards, and this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. A RX 6900 XT, very nice card, for $2,255.99. A 6800 XT, a 6800 for $1,379. A 6700 XT, the base model from ASRock, for $1,000. And of course, this is my favorite one, the GeForce GTX 1660 Super Gaming for $530. A 1660 for $530. Now, I want to be clear about this. This isn't Roadcast's fault. Roadcast is a reseller. They buy their hardware from some giant distributor, which is making an insane amount of money right now. And I love capitalism. Hot take. But I don't like this, what this is. This is just taking advantage of your customers and hoping that later they're going to still come back to you and buy stuff. And I feel bad for a company like Roadcast that has to make its money by buying cards right now and then having to sell it and get bad will. Because people are going to look at Roadcast prices and they're going to be like, man, this company is a ripoff. And they're not. They're just buying the cards and marking up the same amount that they would normally mark them up. It's just, this is insanity to me. I'm going to try not to rant too much about this, but it's destroyed half of my business this past year. And that's not really why I'm upset. Why I'm upset is that I love this hobby. I love the hobby of building, crafting computer cases, computer systems, small form factor, and seeing people for the first time get into this hobby and build with my cases and stuff and talking back and forth, and it's just magical. It's awesome to kind of relive that moment when I was first building a computer over and over and over again with people. That's why I do this. And people are not doing this hobby anymore because it's gotten to be ridiculously expensive. And that's, I think, the part that really frustrates me. I want to see people enjoy this hobby and keep doing it. But it's really, really difficult right now because it's not just the new stuff. I understand new stuff can be expensive. Okay, whatever. You can still have fun and build a computer with used stuff. But the used stuff is outrageous. So I talked about this in my last stream that I did, but the best way to get used is go to Reddit and go to Discord, and I have my Discord as well, and see if you can buy from people in the community. But you also have to be careful. I got ripped off by people in my own community buying video cards. So make sure that you do things so you can actually have another party hold your money or something. I don't know, but I don't know. That's the end of my rant. The rest of these parts are actually affordable, and I do want to praise them because they're very affordable and they're still really, really good. So sorry for that rant. And I do ask your patience, a huge patience with me because, again, I'm having a very difficult time thinking and putting my thoughts to words. And more importantly, not putting my thoughts to words. All right. So what's this build look like? We have a Ryzen 3700X, which I think is a great CPU. And I've kind of been stuck in the past using the CPU over and over and over again because the 5000 series has been difficult to get. I don't think that's the case anymore. I think that the 5000 series is pretty easy to get. But I will say this, the 5700X is disappointing if it's way more expensive than this GPU. If they're the same price, like you walk into a Micro Center and they're both on the shelf next to each other and they're the exact same price, get the 5700X. But otherwise, if you can save good money, why wouldn't you go with the 3700X? And if you have a good reason, please post it in the comments below. Like maybe there's a really good reason that I just don't know about, and it'd be good to educate people. But that's just the way I think about this. And you can get this on Roadcast, and I did look at it, and it was a decent price. And there's been some good bundles with it as well. I want to thank Kingston because this drive, also the Crucial P1 is a drive I've been using a lot recently. This is the A2000 series, and this drive is just always very inexpensive and can be found on sale all the time, even past the low price that it already is. Is it a fancy, super fast luxury drive for professionals? No, it's not, but it's already so fast that if you're a gamer, I truly believe this with 100% of my heart, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can go buy your PCIe 4.0 8000 read-write drive, but you're really not going to see the least bit of a difference. I have not. I don't want to talk for you. I'm sorry. That's a mistake on my part. But for me, I haven't been able to tell the least bit of a difference. The sad thing is, too, I work with 10-bit 4K video. I thought that I needed the fast drives, and I can't tell a difference. I'm using a Mac now to do my video editing, so, that helps. But even when I was using DaVinci Resolve on a beast computer, I couldn't tell a difference. NVMe seems like NVMe seems like NVMe. RAM that I'm liking right now, the Crucial Ballistix. Corsair Dominator, no, it's not the Dominator. The Corsair The Corsair Vengeance is another good option, but this stuff is much cheaper. And you can find it on Roadcast. All this stuff you can find on Roadcast, and I put links in the description to where you can buy these parts. But this is a 3200 megahertz kit. Now, for AMD, I will say that I do tend to prefer to buy 3600 megahertz RAM for AMD. For Intel, honestly, 2400 megahertz RAM. I can't tell the difference in my overclocking or whatever. I can't. So anyway, I'm not going to talk too much about that, but this is a very inexpensive RAM and will game just fine. My favorite motherboard brand for quite some time, maybe also hot take, is ASRock. And they have, I'm not going to diss them too much, but they have one board. It's their Phantom ITX B550 board. And I love the board, but it's been frustrating to me because every board I bought from that batch has been like a revision 1. So even though that board should be able to support 5000 series CPUs out the box, you need to flash it. That's frustrating. This board, I'm really hoping today that I don't have to do that, but I'm not going to be able to find out anyway because I have a 3700X. But this is the kind of budget option, and it's totally great. I've been buying a ton of these for customer builds lately. I haven't been building a ton of these, but this is the board I've been using the most, I'll put it that way. And Roadcast also happens to have it. The I/O is not like super stacked or loaded, but it's enough. And the layout's fine, and you can put a good number of coolers over everything. The one thing about it that I don't particularly like so well is that the M.2 is not on the bottom, it's on the top. I know people like it because of the heatsink and all that, but for my many cases, I have ventilation on the back side. So it's actually better if it's on the bottom. That's the only thing I don't like about the board. I gotta mute myself in the headphones because yeah, Kyrla. Sorry again, can't read very well right now. You might just have it work for you totally fine, because if you probably have a revision bias, it's better than 1.0. I don't understand how you can ship a B550 board and not have it be compatible with Ryzen 5 out of the box as your first revision. That seems like a noob mistake to me, but as somebody that makes noob mistakes constantly, I feel like that's a noob mistake. Oh, and I will say this too. I want to thank Cooler Master because they actually are sponsoring the hardware or the Cooler Master stuff. And they are going to send you guys, 2 of you guys, an NR200 of your choice and a power supply. 2 winners. I'm going to pick 2 people. And I don't know how I want to pick you yet. But if you're watching this stream, they're giving away 2 cases. So thank you, Cooler Master, for that. And lastly, that I was going to talk about, but I had to open this hardware, is the NR200. And I sell luxury computer cases, but normally I don't talk about other computer cases on my channel because it's kind of like a conflict of interest, even if I like them. But I like the NR200. I don't... On the one hand, like, I feel kind of guilty liking the NR200 because it's kind of an in case. It's kind of like an in case, a corporatized in case, and that kind of bothers me because, like, would I like it if Cooler Master came up with a Skyreach 4 Mini and then in case the live stream building in the Cooler Master knockoff of my Skyreach 4 Mini? Probably not. But on the other hand, I have to realize that, A, this is a hobby. It's a hobby that does pay my bills right now. Thank God, I'm very grateful for it. But I don't want people not to be able to build a computer because the computer cases are so stupid expensive. And the Skyreach 4 Mini is so stupid expensive for me to reorder, especially this year with all the aluminum and everything. I don't know if I'm going to do it. It's so expensive. So to have an option like the NR200, which is very reasonably priced, and it's actually good. It's actually a very good case. It's pretty. It's well put together. It's smart. They actually built in it. You can tell they built in it. So, you know, they didn't just design it in a computer and sell it. They deserve all the success they get with that. And I think it's about time, I guess, after, 5 years, that a big company gets to take an indie design and make it accessible to everybody. So I guess that's how I feel about it. So that's one of the frustrations and one of the reasons I was talking about at the beginning of this video about getting fired. It's kind of how I feel. It's complicated. It's complicated. But I like Cooler Master as a company. Always have. And I'm glad that they make solid products at a very reasonable price. And the NR200 is more than a solid product. It's a smash hit, and it deserves the title. I think it's probably one of the best cases, actually, of 2021. Minus the S4T, of course. Best case of all time, am I right? The 3700X comes with the Wraith Prism cooler. I think it's called the Wraith Prism cooler. And I might use this today in the stream, depending on how I feel. This is actually a very solid cooler. It looks nice too. I don't want to keep saying it actually, but my brain's not working completely well. It performs quite well. It's loud. That's the only thing about it. I would have no reservation recommending somebody on a budget build to just use the Wraith cooler because it works really well. It's just noisy. And it can't really be run at low speeds quietly either. Noise is always subjective, but it's not a throwaway cooler. I'll put it that way. It's a solid cooler. A usable solid cooler. Cooler Master also sent the SICKLEFLOW ARGB fans. This looks like a 3-pack. And I don't know how these install. This will be really fun trying to figure out. I know you guys have probably been talking this whole time and asking questions and making good points. And to be honest, I have not paid attention at all. And it's very rude of me. So I'm going to try to see if I can go through real quick. And see if I can get some comments. Well, there's a fat man. I remember you, buddy, and your awesome Half-Life Skyreach 4 Mini Classic. Says that for PCI 4.0 NVMe, I've only ever seen a slight difference with loading the busy cities in WoW. Ooh, I play WoW. Maybe that would make a difference. I had to switch drives a few times and noticed it from going from a 4.0 to 3.0 back. Let's going up some more. Roadcast is pointing out that they have a 5% deal right now with the stream if you go buy a graphics card, which is probably the best deal you're going to get right now, to be honest. And yeah, they have a limited supply. They ran out of the... Did they run out of the 3060s? Roadcast, do you have these left? Because when I checked, they looked like they were sold out, but I couldn't tell if you're posting them. These might be available right now. Roadcast can correct me. Someone makes a good point. These don't sound like any different than the price I saw at Microsoft the other day. Yeah, I'll hope for Manny. That is correct. Because they buy their hardware from distributors, and distributors are playing a game with us. It's more expensive for the distributors, but I don't believe it's that much more expensive. Do you know why I don't believe that? Because you can buy EVGA cards at MSRP prices. Like I said, there's a queue, but I bought some of these cards for $800 scalped, and I bought some of them from EVGA Direct for $429. So okay, and that's pretty much it for right now. But if you try to ask a question, I will try to answer the best of my ability. I did not enable Super Chat. I thought about enabling Super Chat just to go straight out, sell out, you know, but I decided that you'd have to probably watch an ad or something to do that, and I didn't want you to watch ads. I hate YouTube ads. I respect the fact that YouTube's got to make money, and they provide this great service. As somebody that used to be in the streaming industry before YouTube and helped develop software and hardware for it, you know, that stuff's expensive, so I appreciate it, but I don't really like the ads. I wish there was a different way. Maybe like a paid version of YouTube where I could pay them money. I don't know. It's free for me right now, so what can I do? I can't complain. Alex asked about the Loki Ghost S1, and if that's the first... Oh, look at that. Super Chat does Super Chat work? Oh, thank you, Hans Tang. And I want to tell you also how much I appreciate you in general. You're always participating in the streams and writing me emails and stuff. He's a cool guy, and he also has an incredible hacky dev website instructional channel. So If you want to type that in, it will be blocked by YouTube, but I will unblock it later for people to look at. So it's cool. You make cool stuff, dude. Well, all right, let's start building. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry that I'm so weird today. Oh yeah, power supply. Power supply is also by Cooler Master. It's the V650, which I also have to respect because it's one of the cheaper SFX power supplies that's not kind of gone through the roof in pricing. So this is a great choice. The one thing I will say, and again, one of the reasons for the title in this video about I might get fired and not get to work with these partners again, is that I do recommend Silverstone if you were buying custom cables or you're doing sleeving. But if you're not, then I would definitely go with the Cooler Master power supply because it's way less expensive. I just don't like how they break. Cooler Master, this is feedback for you if you ever watch this video. I do not like split cables. They're so frustrating to work with and they're not worth sleeving to me. So I'm just not going to buy a power supply that I'm going to sleeve. Look at this, see? You can't sleeve this. You can, but it's not worth it. That's the only thing. That's the only reason. The lengths of the cables are great. They're kind of stiff. They're old-fashioned. They're not that silicone jacketed flexible stuff. But everything's well labeled. I've used a couple of these now. They're relatively quiet, and they work, and they're inexpensive. And they have a button on the back, which I do like, a switch. I do not like buying power supplies that don't have a switch on the back. I'm going to put together the motherboard first, and then we'll work on the computer case. I seem to have lost the CPU, so that's it for the stream, guys. Silverstone fixed their fan control in the newest revisions. Oh, this is a great question. Silverstone's small form factor power supplies have been plagued with fan problems. I mean, since they came up with their first one. They're always my favorite because of the cables, but I can't tell you that for sure. But I can tell you that I do have a Silverstone Platinum ridiculously high wattage one for this 3090 system I just built that I'm trying to make a video of. You guys can look it up. But it's not stuck on full blast, but it seems like once it gets to 450 watts with my watt meter, it just sucks. It just sucks air in like a vacuum, and you have to have plenty of space where it can pull in fresh air from the outside. If you have any kind of vents or whatever, the air is going to scream as it goes through. So that is a concern for me with Silverstone power supplies. But it's been off and on. Some of them work great. There was the 800 Platinum, which worked fine for me. Had a good fan curve on it. And with Silverstone power supplies, you generally can replace the fan with a Noctua, which is nice, 92mm. David Perez, thank you for the super chat, my friend. Also because it makes your... it's easier for me to read right now. My living room PC is built in NR200 with 240 rads, cooling a 5800X and a 3090. Thanks for being awesome, Josh. I don't know if I am awesome, but I super duper appreciate the nice words. It's been rough. Yeah, Mosquito says the same thing. Favorite power supply because the cables, but fan problems. Yeah, I would like them to get that under control. I'd usually wash my hands. I've been touching my face and stuff before touching the CPU, but I'm going to be taking this out later, cleaning it, and putting a different cooler on it. So, for right now, this will be fine. Be putting a Noctua NH-L9i. I was thinking like I could just do that right now, but that doesn't really fit the theme of the NR200. Pibales asks, what I'm printing on the 3D printer, and I can't tell you that. That is for a client that is developing some special patented object. But I can tell you it's for a good cause. It's for solving housing issues, like low-income housing. It's a technology to help develop low-income housing, rapid low-income housing. Something like that. I probably already said too much, to be honest. But the Mark Forge was a great system to print on because the parts seem to be super duper strong for the prototype. Another good thing about the Kingston A2000, I bought a couple of them and they've all been great and not failed out of the box. So I'm hoping that this one's going to be great too. Another M.2 SSD that I kind of want to recommend, but I don't know if I should because I've gotten so many bad ones. And that's never happened to me with M.2 drives. I probably shouldn't. I just probably shouldn't recommend it. But it's extremely cheap. It's the cheapest M.2 drive that you can buy on Amazon right now. I'll just leave it at that. And if you don't mind returning one until you get one that works and you're really, really cheap. But you don't have to worry about that with the Kingston drive. Sebastian Perez says, is 450 watts enough for this day and age? I don't know what that means particularly, but generally speaking, 450 watts is a lot of power for most of the hardware you can buy. For sure. It will not power a 3090, but it will power a 3080. So anything below that, though, I would absolutely recommend. Above that, then you probably should just buy a 650 or an 800. But my Mini, the most powerful power supply you can get before getting a custom handmade one from G-Unique, is 450 watts. And that will power... That will give you plenty of power for any card that you can stick in there. Because remember, you have to cool 450 watts of power if you're actually using that. And in a small computer case, that could be a challenge. Right. Part of me wants to scrape off the pre-applied thermal paste. But part of me also wants to see how the pre-applied thermal paste does. And since I used this board and this CPU before and have benchmarks for it, kind of interested in seeing how it does. It's My Gaming Seat asked me about a ATX case from SFF time. I don't know, I haven't seen that one, but I can say this. I'm actually really impressed with the current state of the indie case scene. So much to the point where I'm thinking about retiring and catch up on resting and recovering from all my health issues. I feel like there's now cases to choose from that are really good, where there wasn't so much 7 years ago. But that's a topic for another video. Amron asked me what GPU I'm using for the build. I'm going to be using... I actually have to read you the serial because there's two different ones now. But it's a 3060, 12 gigabyte. And this one is the 12G P5 3657KR. I believe they made a second version. Please correct me or help explain if I'm wrong. With the anti-mining technology built into it. I don't know if it has a backplate or not. But I'm using the older version with the backplate, and you can mine on it. Because, I mean, if you spend all the money on it, I think you should be able to mine on it, personally. Miners are going to do it. Interesting thing about this board, you don't have to install any standoffs for the M.2 drive. I'm noticing that a lot more recently with newer motherboards, which is pretty cool. A lot of people in the past, I would get emails in my tech support channel of them installing their drives, and they'd have all sorts of issues, and I'd ask them to take a picture of it, and they didn't put the standoff in, so the drive was kind of sit cockeyed, and it would either cause damage to the drive if you really try to bolt it in, or it'd pull out the back fingers out of the socket to where it didn't make good contact. But that's getting harder and harder to do now because they're doing a good job out the door. Ooh, Roadcast got moderated for spamming. Here, I will show it, and that's weird. Okay. Roadcast, I made you a moderator for this stream, so you will not get censored. Because it's important. 5% off, it's 5% off. And you should take advantage of that. Is it 5% off for everything? Ooh, GPUs. The first computer case power supply. Don't abuse your privileges, Roadcast. Remember the speech I gave at the beginning of this video? No, you're cool. I was going to do the first video giveaway once I pulled out the case, which is about time now that I have my little board here. Man. We might give up and just put this in a S4M. I can't get it out. Oh. Okay. I'm going to have Cooler Master give you an NR200. I believe you get a choice too, but don't quote me on that, because they had different models. You'll get an NR200 and a Cooler Master power supply. I believe it's also the 650 watt. If you can send me an email. Oops. I'll give you some time to put it up, but it's going to be the first person who can send me an email telling me the last video on my channel that I used the Dynamo 360 power supply in. So last mod I built using a Dynamo 360 in video on my channel. So the first person that sends me an email with the answer will get, it has to be in the United States too. That was something too. I know like 45% of you are international. I'm very sorry about that. Make Roadcast feel really guilty, and then they can make Cooler Master feel really guilty, and then maybe they can do an international giveaway next time. If there is a next time, I might be fired after this. I don't know. But anyone in the United States of America can send that answer out. And just go to my channel, and you can click the videos. It does begin with project. I'm going to make it easier now. It begins with project. The title of the video begins with project. Of course, I had a lot of videos called project, but all right, let's open this guy up. I'll check my email in a little minute. I think I said this before, but I really like the NR200. I gushed about them earlier in the stream a little bit too much. And it just impresses me every time I open one up. They're just built really well. You know, I feel like Kenny, when he was fixing to put the Cuba embargo down, and then bought all those Cuban cigars. Pretty scummy. I kind of did the same thing with Compax 360. When I heard that he was going to stop making them, I went and I bought a ton of them out for my projects because they're so handy. Good guesses, but remember, you got to email me. And the reason I wanted you to email me is because I didn't want to miss it in the chat, just in case. And with the email, I'll have a nice timestamp of I like that. The NR200, there's 2 screws on one side for that fan bracket, and then there is a flange, a jogged flange, so you can just install 2 screws. It's very nice. I do need my box, my motherboard box. Here it is. Hans Tang, that is correct. It's Project Ionic was the last one I did. So he's giving you the answer. After I install the motherboard, I will check the emails. The NR200 has a nice, fat, thick powder coat, which I really like. It's really well done. It's impressively well done for like a mass-produced computer case in this price point. And it has the standoffs that are sunk down a little bit, so the thread part goes through your holes, so you can just kind of pop the board in there. And I really like those. They've been using them for quite some time. I got to get myself those for the S4T if I can find them. Barney Elliott asks about HD Plex products, and I'm not at liberty to talk about it, but the future is very exciting. I'm very excited for future HD Plex products. You know what? That's kind of a mistake on my part. I'm going to actually unscrew the motherboard. I'm going to install the CPU cable in first, because I forget this is not a mini. This is actually a, you can believe it, it's going to be a little bit trickier to build in. The mini is like a puzzle where if you know the solution it goes together super simply. That's why I make those videos on it. Whereas it's more, I don't know, it's probably about the same, I suppose, for this computer case. That 8-pin plug is all the way back there. What is nice is that you can install it without taking the drive brackets out. It's tight, but you can do it. Although if you had a taller cooler than what this Wraith cooler is, that would be a no-go. You would have to take probably either the fan out, the rear fan on the Cooler Master, or the drive brackets, or both. This is a power supply bracket, but it's also a drive bracket because, you know, they're doubling up, which I think is cool. Friedrich, my man, always showing up to my streams. I appreciate you, buddy. It's fun to keep seeing you. And I appreciate the words of wisdom. I do. God bless you, man. And we're going to do one more by the GPU. Andrew asked what the giveaway is, and I'm going to check right now, but I'm giving away, I say me, I'm just facilitating the giveaway for Cooler Master to give you guys an NR200. Believe you have a choice on models, like one was the glass side panel, or not, maybe Roadcast knows, and a Cooler Master power supply. And then I'm going to be giving away another one later in the stream. Let's see who won. The first one. Oh, I got to go to my support email. That's right. 1 second. I got to go back this other way. Ooh. I want to answer that, Preston. 1 second. Well, I'll send a screenshot for you guys so you can see for yourself. And I'll put it in the description later. I used the support email because it has a ticket system, so you can kind of see where the tickets come in, and it's pretty slow. And there was a lot of people that answered right away, but they didn't give me an answer. The first person doesn't count unless he posted something in the stream, and that was Philip Chu. I gotta go over to read it again. Philip Chu. So if Philip Chu had an answer in the stream, I'll give it to him first. But I have to go back and check because he didn't give me the answer in the email. So that's going to require moderation. But the first person to give it correct in the email was Friedrich Polk. So congratulations, Friedrich Polk, and at least being the runner-up. You probably are the person that is going to win the contest, but I want to be fair and double-check it when I'm done with the stream. And when I am done, by the way, so everybody knows it was fair and open, I will upload that screenshot and put it in the link in the description, or so you guys can see that I choose the first one, because it shows the subject line and everybody's subject or answers fit in the subject line. So, okay. Now I kind of think I'm gonna do the second one. And thinking is not my specialty, usually, but especially not right now. Oh, wait. Covered this before, I think, in another stream, but they have a little clip for the front I/O, so you can just plug it directly in because they're all standardized on the motherboards. That's really cool, Cooler Master. I really like that. I kind of want to steal that idea, but I don't have a source for these little connectors. But, you know, if you want to send me like an email, I'll buy a good amount from you. If I ever decide to make a case with a front panel connector. One thing too about the ASRock motherboards is they generally put the US 3.0 header and the front panel header right next to each other, and they look almost the same. I know the difference between them just from doing a lot of builds, but that could confuse you. What you do not want to do is get that wrong with headers, because I think there's 2 pins on USB 3.0 that can cause a short. So just make sure you look in your manual and get it plugged in the right spot. I do not know why. I don't know why ASRock does it that way, but yeah. Take my watch off before I scratch this paint. Hans Tang did say it first in chat, but there's no timestamp in the chat. So unless Hans Tang sent an email to me, which I don't see on there. Oh, I do see it on there. But he was not anywhere near the first to send me an email. So I don't think that he would be the first person. Sorry, Hans Tang. I didn't forget we have a second one. I don't know who gets white and who gets black. I don't know. It's just it's gonna be my choice. It's gonna be Cooler Master's choice. I'll put in an email that they can say their preference, and then it will just kind of just leave it up to fate and stock supply. I think that the wise thing to do now would actually to be. I'm sorry, I keep saying actually over again. It's like the only word I know how to say right now. To install the power supply first, and both sides have great venting on them, so I could face it away and pull out the back side. I think that would be, I think that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, because I'm gonna probably put the 2 fans as intake, or not intake, as exhaust on the top. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I don't think there's a wrong answer here. But I am going to try to be cheap and install it. Since it's SFX, nah, I can't do it with the cables on, so I guess it's actually going to be faster to take the bracket off. Well, live and learn. There's 2 screws to hold the bracket on. It hangs, which I think is another really great design feature. And I guess you might as well just take it out to begin with, because then you can get your motherboard in there a lot easier as well. Probably tells you how to do that in the manual, but... Alright, so this way... Oh, right, Preston asked a question. I want to go back and look that up. So this is a pretty interesting... This, again, proves to me the engineers at Cooler Master know what they're doing. They didn't just hire some guys that know how to work CAD and say, make a computer case. These guys actually were thinking about what they were doing, and I think that's just so cool to see. This bracket, okay, when you put the power supply in it, you're like, man, if it just clamped on precisely, then I wouldn't have to line these holes up. Because I was having trouble lining the holes up because right now I can barely hold a screwdriver. But the reason they did that, I'm going to assume, being a fellow case designer, is they put about a 5mm gap, maybe 4mm, between 4 and 5mm gap of the holes to the power supply. So if it was flipped the other way around, your fan would be able to more easily pull air into the power supply without restricting it or making extra noise. So I just like seeing little details like that. Andrew says, don't most people seem to prefer the NR200 over the TU150? I don't know if that's directed at me. Probably is not. I can't say. Both are great computer cases. They do different things. I truly believe that NR200 is probably a superior case for most people. It just has so many more features, so much more versatility without being frustrating to build in. But the TU150, if you're traveling, that handle is not a gimmick. That handle is for serious. And I know a lot of streamers in particular, professional streamers that do like events, church streaming, that kind of stuff, who use the TU150 for that handle on top and can put a capture card in there. And it's really handy. And it has great airflow front to back as well. And it probably has better, it absolutely has better front to back airflow than NR200. But I think it does a really good job with the front to back airflow. The top to bottom chimney style in the NR200 is going to be fantastic, though, with several different kinds of coolers. So I can't say that I would only ever buy the NR200 again, because that handle comes in really handy for a lot of professional clients, which is what I seem to be building the most cases for these days. Because they're the only ones that can, they have to be able to buy it. I don't want to say they can afford it, but if they don't buy it, then they can't run their business. That's sad. Just sad. I'm really hoping that things are gonna calm down here, but I really don't think that they're going to, as far as pricing goes. They'll get a little bit better, but I'm not too optimistic. You know, thanks, Hans, because I didn't pimp my own case, but yeah. What another nice computer case for travel is, the NR200 is like what? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, look at that. Dang, that's a lot of S4Ts. 5 S4T standard units of measurement. Andrew says NR200 with a mesh front, one can dream. To be honest, I think that would impair airflow in this design. I'm actually kind of disappointed in the mesh back, so I can see why they did it and why it would work on some builds. But really, the best case scenario, you'd want to block off this back, and you'd want to orient your tall tower cooler so the air is going to be sucked up from the bottom and go right up the top. And you don't want to have a vent here because you want to pull air all the way from the bottom across the GPU, because air is just going to take the path of least resistance. So, interestingly enough, this design is spot on as far as my personal opinion. All right, I'm going to see what my super chat last question was. Yeah, I'll take the gum out. It's kind of tacky of me. Sorry. Scrolling up. Andrew Preston asks, besides projects for large companies you co-designed, What's the likelihood of seeing a mainstream mass-produced small form factor case from me? I don't know. I do have one project that I'm working on right now that may see the light of day with a company that would advertise that I worked on it with them. But for the most part, a lot of cases, anything that I do design work on, they don't want me to ever talk about the fact that I helped them with the design. And I can understand that, and I like it that way anyway, so. But as far as a big mass-produced case, I don't know. I would really like to do that one day, but it's looking less and less likely, to be honest. Because a mass-produced case, I don't know Cooler Master's numbers, and if I did know, I definitely wouldn't say them because that would not be appropriate. But when we're talking about a mass-produced case, we're talking about a computer case that sells 15,000 plus a year. That's not the top selling case. The top selling case in 2020, and I'm not going to name what it was 65,000 units. That is a huge number. It's an unfathomably high number. And we're talking about like the Mini, which I can't say because I also want to fight off clones. The Mini sells a infinitesimally small number. I mean, that we're not even on the same planet or solar system, so. I appreciate that, Andrew Preston, and I think that's good feedback for some manufacturers. For some manufacturers, I say, hey, look, I think you could benefit from saying that you partnered with an indie company. And then some that are really big, like Cooler Master, although I'd never worked with Cooler Master before, I will say that much. Who am I? I'm a nobody. It's not really going to help them out. I want to make sure I'm plugging this in the right port. That would be a point against Cooler Master if you could plug in the CPU port into a reverse keyed PCIe port. Speaking of low volume cases, guys, the S4T, I know I need to get it out to you guys internationally. The problem has been making sure that everything was going to go smoothly. At least looks like the shipping is working. But also the web developer that helps me with my site was on vacation. So he's back and he's going to make it so you can buy the S4T internationally. And hopefully there's a lot of you out there because the S4T so far is not doing hot in sales. It is the weirdest case ever. I didn't expect it to sell like hotcakes. But if you want an S4T, help me out if you got one. Nervous laughter. Well, thanks, Graham. I appreciate it. I know a Graham M in real life. He's a cool guy. Maybe all people with the name Graham M's are cool guys. He's one of the coolest guys I know, actually. Ugh. The power cable, the AC power cable for the NR200 is already routed for you and has zip ties going across the top of the case and has plenty of loom wrapped around the SFX power supply so you can orient it in different locations and you're not going to get stuck. So again, another plus for Cooler Master. So far, I have absolutely zero complaints. Zero complaints, which is outstanding. I don't know how many I would give right now, but I'm pretty loose-lipped right now, it seems to be, with my migraine, so who knows what I could have ended up saying if this case was less than amazing. All those look like they can get stuff down there. And then we have our high definition audio cable, which I will route the same way, all the way to the back. I don't like the PC011 case. That's a hot take. And I have not seen the Mini, so I can't comment on that. But I don't like the PC011. I know it's like one of the most popular cases ever. But I don't like it. I don't have to. I guess it's fair why I would say why I don't like it. Give feedback and criticism, but for the most part, it's because I don't like how it looks. I just don't like the layout. People like it because you can make a really cool looking water cooled build, but they're so cookie cutter now. I think that also bothers me. I don't like that they don't look good without crazy water cooling built into it. I think a case should probably stand on its own without a specific build already laid out for people. It's not a bad case, so I'm not dissing it. It's just that I don't particularly like it, is all. I'm going to save this for the fan controller, actually. No, I was right the first time. Okay, now for our graphics card. New graphics card, never been installed before. I have the protective wrap still on it. And the back. And EVGA, I love you so much. You have done such a magnificent job with this graphics card. Obviously, I like the 3060 Ti. So Roadcast, please, please, please get the 3060 Ti if you can, which I know is probably impossible. But, you know, take what you can get. But the form factor of this card, this is how you make a mini ITX computer graphics card. It's not my ideal layout, like the most perfect possible layout, but it's really, really close. It's built super solid. The backplate actually, it's adds something to the graphics card other than just a metal backplate for sales purposes. The cooler on it is just fantastic. You got a great giant big copper plate going across all your RAM modules, across, of course, the CPU. Then your heat pipes going the length of the card, back and forth. Transverse fin design, and the fins just look great. Really high density on them. The shroud, they actually did it. Sorry again, I keep using that word actually. They made the shroud truly functional. It goes all the way back to the heatsink. So the fans, when they're spinning, they're going to create the most pressure across the transverse fins. It's split down the middle, so it's not going to lose pressure where the fans are, you know, meeting each other, colliding. And even the fans themselves, I believe that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I want to say 9 blades, but I'm having trouble viewing that kind of thing right now. I think it's 9 blades, but a lot of blades. I like how they're curled at the end. It seems to me like it's going to create a lot of pressure at the end, and they're dimpled. They have the little EVGA logo on them, which on the one hand, I don't know for sure if it actually is going to affect the acoustic properties of the card, but you do see that with golf balls, right? You do see that with some high-end fans making those dimples along the edge of the blade. It's supposed to make it quieter. But really, all in all, great plastic too. The plastic is top-notch, really high-quality feeling, strong, looks good, has a nice matting to it. The design overall, as far as just the industrial look, I think is great. This card gets an A+ for me. It is one of the best designed small form factor cards I've ever seen. This is the card I would buy 100% if you're buying a 3060. Even if you have room to buy a triple fan card, this one's just going to be more versatile, and you're going to be able to switch cases later down the line too if you wanted to. Also, of course, I'm a little bit biased, but this goes in the Skyreach 4 Mini right next to the HD Plex, 400 watt, so it makes brickless builds super easy. So, yeah, fantastic, fantastic. Yeah, no red lipstick, no clown face. I absolutely can't stand that, the clown face on other EVGA. I don't know what they were thinking. EVGA's designers are fantastic. They're top notch. And they made some of my favorite designs ever, like the 2080 Ti, best looking GPU of all time, in my opinion. And then they put that red lipstick on the 30 series. Like, what? I said they were trolling in my chat, and I know that's a little bit rude for me, but I think that they were trolling. Durr. Not going to work without taking these out. Well, Wildfinger says it's the red lipstick. Well, there's the red lipstick on the back, like that, which I also do not like. If, in fact, that's the only thing I don't like about this card is they have that little red line, which just looks gross. Just make it black. It would look great. But Graham's talking about right here, this little plastic piece on 30 series cards to start with was red. It looked like a clown face making like a sad face. It's so bad. I'm trying to get fancy here, so I might have some hard time sticking this in. It would actually go in quite easily, but I have the cables routed underneath the card and the HD audio cable and that little niche where the PCIe finger is. So that's why it might look like I'm struggling for a second. Also because I'm just bad at everything, but I didn't want you to think it was the card. Okay, I think we're in. Magnetic fan filters everywhere, which I don't like. I don't like fan filters, but having them easily removed and magnetic, that's a big plus. I know some people are crazy about fan filters. Crazy, I say. Andrew Vigil, yes. The EVGA 3060 that I'm using right now is not just S4M compatible. Oh, S4MC compatible. It is S4MC compatible. Yes. In fact, I am doing an S4MC special build, one of the last ones I'll probably end up doing for a client right now, with the 3060 Ti version of this card. It does fit. It's going to be tight, but it does fit. Everyone made a big deal about the clown lips, but how often do you actually look at the GPU from that angle? Probably not often, but there's a lot of builds these days where you have a front clear glass side panel, or you have a reservoir thingy, a distro plate there. Besides, like, it's just bad. Like, I don't want to buy a graphics card that has it on there. I'm going to buy something else. Actually, no, that's a lie. I'm going to buy what the manufacturer sells to me because I don't have any options and they have all the power. But, you know, maybe that was where they were really trolling. I don't think EVGA is like that. Again, they're like one of the few people that are selling graphics cards at MSRP. They're on graphics cards. Yes, and they will send you a black clip, too, to make up for their past sins. Here's something, Cooler Master, that I would really love to see with your power supplies. Or I shouldn't address them like they're watching. But if they were watching, I would say, could you please include a 8-pin cable, a 6+2 8-pin cable, instead of the 8+8 pin? Because there's a lot of graphics cards. I know this is a long case and everything, and you want to cut money, but that would be really cool if you could include one 8-pin cable so we don't have this ugly cable dangling around in the case. The first thing I would do is I would make a new GPU cable for this build. I don't know the pinout for the Cooler Master power supply, so I can't just use one of my Skywire cables, which are Silverstone compatible. I want to talk some more about this case real quick before I put the fans in. But this is really cool. Another proof that these guys built in the computer case and didn't just make it in 3D and call it a day. There's a cutout in the front. So if you have a super huge long graphics card, you can angle it in there by pushing the front and install it. It blows my mind how many computer cases do not use that feature. It needs to be done more often. I think that's really neat. Then they also have a cutout on this side for your cables. Instead of one just on the back here, they could have said, call it a day and say, okay, yeah, there's a cutout right here. But I could see situations when you're running your own custom cables along the side of it where you'd want to have it angled out from this side of the computer case. So that's another big cool point. And I like how this cutout for the graphics card, there's a channel back here so you can run cables all the way down and through. It's pretty neato. On the back side, because of how they've looped their front panel I/O cables, they've thought about it as well. So it's going to be pretty simple to use the included Velcro clips to kind of bunch up the rest of these and get them kind of nicer looking. I really appreciate the other super chat, and I haven't seen them, so I'll let the chat answer, but thank you very much for that. I'm not going to strap all that in quite yet. Let's put these fans in and see what they look like. I have a couple options, thanks to Cooler Master. I know absolutely nothing about the SICKLEFLOW fans. I do not know if they are a high-end fan. They are supposed to be quiet and good performance, or if they're a budget fan set for giving yourself a little bit extra breathing in your computer case. And they're ARGBs. They look good. I know nothing about them, so I cannot answer or make an endorsement. But I am grateful that Cooler Master sent them so I could test them out and take a look at them. They don't smell like chemicals, which is disappointing. They feel pretty lightweight. They're not like the EK Vardar or the Fractal Design, Venturi, or of course the Noctua fans, especially the Starox. These are pretty light. But the plastic on the fan itself, if there's like a low, medium, high stiffness, Starox being, of course, on the extreme end of high. This is probably a medium, low medium. They do vibrate quite a bit if you flick them. None of that means anything. I'm just acting like a wine snob. Okay, so let's see if I can pop this cover off, because I don't actually know if you can do that or not. But it would make sense if you could. Because there's a little thingy right here. The last build I did in this, I didn't end up removing the top. I feel like it's, yeah, okay, it's just really on there. Nice. I want to install this. You know, I wanted to install this to where it was going to exhaust up, but that would be a mistake because this top is just way too restrictive. So I'm not going to do that. That would be a mistake to do it that way. And it's not like you couldn't take this mesh out. It's basically a really thin steel, and you can peel back the tabs, pop it out, and then you could have excellent ventilation blasting to the top. But this looks so cool. I mean, a good job, Cooler Master. I love this subtle gray. I love this racing stripe. I'm a sucker for racing stripes. That's 5 frame rates right there to your video game. But yeah, I thought I had it in my head I was going to put them on top, but that would be a mistake. So I guess your option is to put them at the bottom and kind of blast air and have it float up to the top. Guess that's what I'm going to do. But I will say that I like how this top pops off. You got tons of room in the top if you want to do a pretty cool little radiator mod. So good on Cooler Master there. This, I'd have to play with it to do like a real deep dive review of how this would function with mounting different kinds of radiators. It might be kind of... I'd have to get my calipers out and measure it. But it's also kind of a pointless thing to do because I'm sure that there's 1,000,001 builds and you could just go look at some photos. But it'd be extraordinarily tight to fit a 1-inch thick radiator and 1-inch thick fans at the top. I really think you could only fit the fans in, to be honest. But, you know, let's see what the experts have to say about that. The fans are going to mount in the slots at the bottom. I've complained about this before, but when you make a computer case, I want to see the same pattern everywhere. Not slots and different size holes and pinholes and hexagons. I think that looks tacky. I guess is the only thing I have to say about the case. Like, I get that you have slots on the bottom because you want to mount the fans and have as many places as possible. Okay, fair. But you don't need to have different size holes for the SFX power supply and the rear. Those could be the same. And the side panels. And you don't need to have hexagons on the top. You know, why not make them all the same? Why not? That's a good question. Why not make them all the same? Now, the slots on the bottom I get, and I'm going to deal with that because slots are great for mounting stuff. And I'm going to suck air from the bottom and blast it up into my computer case. Somehow. I think I'm going to put the cables down. We'll try it that way. I don't really want to blast it into my graphics card. That's kind of why I wanted to pull it up from the top. But I do want to see these fans, so I'm going to do it anyway. But yeah, if this was my build, I would mount the fans on the top and figure out a way to probably remove this. I don't know, it looks so cool, this top. I can't reconcile that in my head. Aesthetics versus performance. I kind of want both. Hoping that Cooler Master included... Okay, here we go. I'll have to read the instructions because I don't know what these clips are for. Which makes me feel stupid, but like I said at the beginning of the stream, this is all about being real. I am not a computer expert. I'm not a computer expert. I like to build computers. I like to design computer cases. But I cannot ever be a tech YouTuber because I do not have the qualifications for that job. That looks pretty decent right there. I'm gonna put one on the graphics card, but again, I wouldn't do this. If this was my build, I would not do this. I would not blast air up into another fan that's running a different RPM. I wouldn't do that. I would consider taking the shroud off and the fans off of the graphics card, though, and putting fans underneath it. I think that would work absolutely fantastic. Especially if you have a triple slot card. Well, not a triple slot card. That wouldn't work at all. But a 2.5-inch slot card. What do they call those? 2.5 slot cards? That would work good. But mainly I just want to see this ARGB fan and listen to it a little bit. That's the wrong screw. There is a computer case right now, a big computer case company that I am collaborating with, and I can't reveal any details about it. But when you see any videos about it in the future, if they advertise the fact that I work with them, then you can think back to the stream and go, oh yeah, I remember him talking about that. But I give them a ton of credit because the first case that they made needed improvements. And they were more than happy to listen to you guys and make a case that had a lot of y'all's feedback. All hope for humanity. Well, there you go. And that's kind of what I'm hoping here. This fan is going to be... I have seen... You're the expert here, so I'm going to defer to you. My concern is one time I did try to do that with a very strong fan, and the fans of the graphics cards were pretty bad, and they would stall. I don't know how they would, or at least they would appear to stall. Maybe it was a eye shutter speed thing. But I would like your opinion on that, since you are an expert in this field. Was my thinking somewhat accurate with having fans pull air up through the top and allow cooler air to naturally come up to the GPU? Would that be the way that you would orient things optimally if we got rid of this mesh, of course? I would be interested in knowing that, or if it just doesn't matter until we test it. I don't know. There's been quite a few boo-boo cases in 2020, right? Fantex had some boo-boos. NZXT had some boo-boos. Fractal Design had some boo-boos. This company called Skyreach by Not From Concentrate, there was a case that had some boo-boos. That guy had the biggest boo-boos of all, so... I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to try to plug these, I guess, daisy chain them together. Is there one more space for a fan somewhere? I guess there technically is one. This guy. There's no way I would run a case with the fans like this, though. There's just absolutely no way I would do that. I like my computers to run hot. Thank you very much. And quiet. It's this way, Josh. Come on, man. It's gotta be this way. Yeah. All right, fan into fan. There's a lot of gap here. And I think this will actually help. And probably look best cabled coming that way, if it's long enough. We do have some extension cables. I truly believe that the NR200 Slimy Squirrel could be made to look quite nice with proper cable management. I am not going to do that on this stream. I just do not have the energy to do that right now. But I truly do believe it. I'm looking at it myself, and I'm visualizing what custom cable runs would do. This would be quite a tidy case. I'm actually inspired to go look at builds of this case on Reddit or something. I don't usually do that. That's maybe an interesting fact about me, is that I don't look at computer builds. And I should. I should be studying up like crazy. I don't. I work in a vacuum, which is not smart. It's not an intelligent thing about me. I will be the first to say. But I'm interested in seeing what some of the pros have done. Hey, Barney, I am very excited about all advancements in APU technology, and I was betting quite heavily on it, but I guess I still am, with the Skyreach 4 Tiny, which is my ultra premium small form factor computer case that's designed for primarily APU type boards with a power supply built in, neat and clean, everything in one box. It also supports other crazy tiny little boards, like the one that you found in the Steam machine, and some other really weird ones that are coming out now. You can install them with adapter plates for the S4T, and they'll fit inside of that. Because I knew that I wasn't going to be able to stick to just mini ITX boards if I wanted to do something like a small case, so it had to be able to support all sorts of tiny little weird form factors, including like the NUC type cases. So that supports NUC type layouts and boards with adapter plates. Sanjeev, the S4T technically can transform into a large style case, and I also have the O5L. You can check out my Patreon channel or my Discord if you want to see some more pictures of it, but I am trying to support people that want larger format console cases in one way or the other. Either I provide the files and you go get something done yourself, or you buy the S4T and transform it. But I'm trying to add my little flair to it without basically stealing from or copying other perfectly competent designs like the Zaber Sentry. Tyrannosaurus Tech, this is already shameful. This is a completely shameful episode of Shillery. So if I'm going to shill, I'm going to shill for my product. Well, Andrew, you're correct on that, unfortunately, but we'll see what the future has to hold. I gotta get these bands out. I'm kind of stalling out here. Band cable. Band cable. Where's my other one? The slate case sounds familiar. I think I might be familiar with that one, but I have to look at it right, and then I don't have it in my head. Okay, so ARGB, always my bane. I got a daisy chain. This one into this one, and this one into my top facing one if I have room. I actually might have to move that one over. Uh-oh. Gonna have to use one of these cables. I don't know what I'm doing, team. I'm struggling. I'm seeing all these cables and my migraine is saying, no, you don't, this is all one cable. Where did my other one go? Comedy of errors. Where are you? Okay. Kind of nice that these fans are sleeved. Fan cables are sleeved all the way to the back. I'm just not going to have room to install that last one. It'll just be weird looking, but I'm going to try anyway. Okay, so if I use this here, can I reach this one over here? I thought that I had a fan... Okay, I do. Wow. Well, they certainly gave me plenty of room. What's the red one for? I do not know. All right, I still have another one of these to give away, but I'm going to do that at the very end. Mostly because I'm stalling for time because I don't have a plan for how I'm going to do that. All right. This and this need to be installed in the motherboard somehow. And they're going to have to go on the top. Which is problematic because of this guy. So I'm going to cancel that now because although it could be done probably quite easily by you guys, right now it's not so easy for me. And I also want to finish the stream. And it'd be kind of silly to spend the next 30 minutes installing this fan. And there's this guy right here, which is probably some kind of extension cable. It looks more like SATA power. I guess for boards that don't support ARGB, then you use this little controller. I don't know. I'd have to look that up. Sorry, Cooler Master, but I don't really know how that works. Okay, so get this through here. I need this one for the other fan. This one's going to go through the top. And this guy is going to go here. Okay. Make sure I plug this in the right direction so I don't fry the LED. So what do you think, guys? Almost as good as the Verge build? If I can at least hit that level of quality, I'll consider it a success for today. Aha! Alright, cool. Fix forever. Throw this back on. Didn't break it. Amazingly. Let's see what we can quickly do to tighten this up. Kind of sad, huh? Building the Sky H4 Mini and I feel the cables just perfect. And with this giant computer case where I have tons of room, it just looks like spaghetti soup. Tyrannosaurus Tech, I'm open for the Sky slots to be licensed to other cases, and you can see that I've done my best to work with indie case makers out there to make sure that the tech is being used, because I really do think that it's a great piece of tech. Of course, I'm biased, obviously, but I think it's a great piece of tech. So I'd like to see it used more. I wish I could talk about how affordable it is, and I really want to see it used more. So that's my main motivation. But I can't talk about the pricing and stuff in a public arena, unfortunately. There's all sorts of rules I have to follow, and barely do. This is gross. I did a terrible job. Shame. But luckily, this case is so snazzy with its side panel venting that it covers up all my bad work. There's a hook on that. That's nice. You just hook it on, pop it in. Well done, Cooler Master. Oops. And it all can be yours for the low, low price of, check the links in the description. Or for free, because now I have to give away another one. So, what should I do? The case's side isn't on. Looks kind of on. To me. What a cute little reset switch. Okay, so Cooler Master is giving away a black one and a white one, apparently. And also a 650 watt power supply. Oh, it asked if I turned it on. This isn't plugged in. I have to try to plug it in. And I don't even know if I got my... Let's see. Plugged in. I fixed it by plugging it in. That's kind of neat. We have to sync the fans, of course. Anyway, it's very quiet, but there's also a 3D printer and an air conditioner running, so the real test would be to turn it on and load it up. What would be a fun question to ask that's not frustrating, but also would be channel appropriate? Oh, how about more shameless plugging for my computer case? So I have a product. Okay, so get the email open. It's support@nfc-systems.com. Get ready to answer this question. I have a product that I sell exclusively that you can wrap your Skyreach 4 and Skyreach 4 Tiny in. What is the name of this product? The first person to type in the name of this product and send it to me in an email will win an NR200 and a power supply in North America. Not North America. I think it's lower 48 only. Sorry about that. But if that's you, you live in the lower 48, and you're willing to help shill for Josh and his products, then send me an email, and I'll check it in a minute and see what it is. Speaking of this product, check out the new batch for the S4T. I need y'all's help naming them, actually. So if you can think of a name for this one, it reminds me very much of a StarCraft level, the original StarCraft level design. Maybe Command and Conquer, but pretty neato. Wrap your S4T in this, and it comes with a little NFC sticker too. But if you can think of a cool name for that, I will totally name it. This one is kind of a white girl basic, but you know, nothing wrong with that. Starry Night wrap. I think it looks nice. Now we get to the tasty one. I like this one a lot. This is the strawberry ice cream wrap. It looks really good on the S4T. I can't wait to wrap. I'm actually going to try to wrap one now with it. This one, I think he did as a joke. It's kind of funny, but it's there. It's an oak tree with the front oak panels. I think it's kind of funny because we sell premium exotic hardwood front bezels. We're the guys that brought that to the industry. I'm very proud of that. So I don't really know if you'd buy a Skyskin with the sticker of an oak tree on the front. But you know what? This is at least giveaway material. Somebody will end up with this as a joke. They'll order an S4T and they'll get it. But then you can just peel it off because it's a 3M skin. This one I like. It's kind of weird because it's a marble wrap, and the gold in it is actually like a gold print. So if you kind of change the light, you can kind of see the gold, but it's marble. I think it could look nice. I haven't tested it yet, but I'm getting some photos in soon. Yeah. Now here's the one I'm pretty excited about actually though. That is trippy. That would look really cool on a black S4T. All right, Net Guy. Thanks for tuning in. Alvin. Yeah. I'm gonna put you out of business, Eric. All right, I'm going to wrap an S4T now. And then I'm gonna call it quits. While we wait on the answer for the NR200. I gotta wash my hands off if I want to do this the correct way. And since this is my mini, I'm actually gonna do that. Okay, sorry about that. Get some rubbing alcohol. Make sure you get any fingerprints or grease off. If you plan on really banging your Skyskin around, keeping it for a long time on your case, then you want to get it clean. I have never applied one of these to an S4T. First time for everything. Now the S4M, I cut it down the middle. I'm going to apply it the same way. Because I got a technique now that works for me, so why ruin it? I'm going to try not to cut into my $30 Skyskin. I literally do not think that I make any money on these after the overhead, guys. I do this for fun. It supports Wizarco, a small, really cool indie sticker company in Snohomish, Washington. So I peel it back a little bit, let it rest so it kind of gets back to its normal shape, and then I line up the first set of sky slots. I think I have to peel this one back a little bit because that's not resting enough. No, I can't see. This one's so small. The S4M I peel like back halfway. Do I want to do ice cream on top? Yeah, of course I do. I'll also point out that these are the prototype skins, so they may not be perfect yet, but by the time you can order them, they will be. Looks pretty good, though. Get out of there. How fun is that? But these are the Sky Skins. You get them for the S4T and the S4M. Well, the S4T, they'll be available probably next week. But for the S4M, they are available right now. And I appreciate you guys very much for sticking through this whole super long stream. Let's see what who the winner was real quick for the Cooler Master case. And it looks like it was Alfred Ditchitang. So congratulations, Alfred. Again, I will take a screenshot and send it to you guys, or put it in the blah blah blah, the description. But well, Cooler Master will send you out your cases. Of course, you guys have to be in North America, so I'll go down to the next person if Alfred is not in the lower 48. But thanks so much to Cooler Master for giving away NR200s, and for this case, and thank you Roguecast for enabling today's stream. Also, thank you for being a good sport. Hopefully, with my rant about pricing and corporate sponsorship and all that at the beginning, but I do really like Roguecast and the people that work there. So I'm glad I got to do this, and I hope I can do it again. And I hope that I can continue to do it while being completely honest and an independent video maker. So you guys can trust me when I do say that I think something's good or not. All right. Love you guys so much. Peace. And I will hopefully see you next time. As I awkwardly walk back on camera because my keyboard and mouse are behind me. So, peace.